So before I even get into my review, I just want to say I do not understand the negative talk the critic hate around this movie whatsoever. This was one of my most anticipated films of the year because I absolutely love the video game, the PS4 exclusive if you can't tell from the thumbnail. I've played it a handful of times. I think it's a blast. I am a survival horror junkie. So I was really excited to see what this movie could do, and I really liked what they were promising to me because they said people are going to die over and over again in a variety of ways. I know some people are turned off by the fact that this is based on a video game. It's not following in that exact formula, but I'm really happy with the fact that they were taking some liberties. This is an example, I think, of a video game adaptation that kind of works in concept. You don't need to exactly copy the video game story, but they were taking inspiration from the IP, variety of choices, how you could get out of these different scenarios. And I've seen about 15 or so metaphorical trauma, family grief films already this year. So sometimes I just want to watch stupid shit and I just want to turn my brain off, have a good time watching people die. But yeah, I do not agree with the critics on this. So let me take a back step. Do I think this is a good movie, really? No. Did I enjoy this movie? Yes. As I said, it's about a group of friends. They find themselves in this like alternate reality time loop at this secluded cottage. And if they cannot survive the night and make it until dawn, hence the name of the movie and the game, they will have to keep reliving the night over and over again and dying in a variety of ways. That just sounds fun to me. Right off the bat, this is not a perfect movie whatsoever. This is incredibly stupid, honestly. I knew that going into it. It's based on a video game. Have we ever had a video game adaptation that's good? I will say this right now. I don't know what the reviews are going to level out as, but I was seeing a lot of negative press going into this. And I can almost say, in my opinion, this is the best like horror video game adaptation ever made. That's a very low bar to clear, but I think this is a better movie than Silent Hill. I think it's a better movie than the Resident Evils. And I almost guarantee in about 10 years or so, this is going to be a cult classic just because of the way the movie plays out. So you have this handful of friends that goes to this cottage. They're looking for a girl's missing sister, and they find out that this cottage is like an alternate reality where if you do not survive the night, you'll have to keep reliving the night, and there's an entire billboard of these missing people who have seemingly suffered the same fate as they are supposed to. But this movie does deliver on what it promised. There's a variety of kills, a variety of different things going on across the night. Practical effects, the kills are cool and creative when they are done. Again, for me, I think this movie could have gotten even more into it, as I'll say into my negatives. But I think for the most part, this movie is an entertaining old school horror film. It looks cool. It's bloody. If you're a genre fan, as I'm explaining this, you're probably thinking it's either really stupid or it sounds kind of cool. You'll probably know if this movie's even the type of movie you want to see. And it's my type of movie because I'm a horror junkie. And much like the video game, I enjoyed the concept of this film, just a Groundhog's Day take on living the night over and over again, dealing with different threats every night to keep things fresh. I'm just a sucker for those time loop movies where the same characters have to deal with a different threat over and over again until they can kind of solve it. But I really liked the lighting and the ambience, like the vibe of this movie when it comes to the video game. I think it really nails that. This movie is very dim. It's very dark. At certain points, the aesthetics of the characters, just the way they look under like moonlight, kind of looks hyper realistic, photorealistic like the video game did. So I think they really nailed the look of this movie and how the video game looked when you're in the cutscenes. So I think the vibe of this movie does kind of feel like Until Dawn, even though it doesn't follow the video game. And to give you guys a comparison of how I felt watching this movie kind of reminded me of the House on Haunted Hill remake. Like that's the level of silliness when you're watching these characters try to survive. So again, it's not highbrow art, it's lowbrow horror. And you'll know if you're a fan of the genre, if you're into those type of films, you'll probably have a good time with this because we don't get a lot of them anymore. And lastly, for my positives, I think this movie has about 3 or 4 awesome jump scares. Like I was not expecting anything out of this movie again. It's a video game adaptation. But I think this movie was actually effectively creepy at points based on the art design for some of the creatures and the things going on in this movie and just some of the jump scares. I think especially teenagers or people who are not into extreme horror movies, it will be effective enough for them. I can see people jumping at this movie for sure. So moving on to the negatives, and there really are only a couple of them. The first thing being, and I don't know if I've ever said this about a movie before, this feels like a movie that actually suffers because it's trying too much to have a plot. Not to give too much away, but this movie opens up and somebody is killing them the first night, and it just is going through them as they all die individually, and it's just, there's nothing more to it than that. You're just watching these people get picked off one by one. But as the movie goes on, because it is a movie and not a video game, it tries to establish a lore and a plot for like what's going on and make it all connect and make sense. But because there's no way to actually tangibly tie all of this together, there's going to be a million plot holes because it's based on a loose concept of a video game. It just feels kind of bogged down by exposition and plot and things you don't really care about, because when you come to a movie like this, you just want to watch the people die in a variety of ways and get scared. And when you're in that moment, especially for like the first 20 or 30 minutes when it's just loop after loop, it's really engaging to me because it does play out like a video game. It's just pure horror. And I don't really need a plot to enjoy that concept. So I think that's when this movie's at its strongest, when you're just watching these people presented with a challenge and them trying to figure it out as they get picked off one by one, and it just keeps changing night to night. I think that is really cool, really engaging, and it's my favorite part of this movie. It just kind of gets away from it in the second half. Again, I think this is a rare occasion where if the movie would have just taken a step back and leaned even more into the horror aspects and gotten rid of a lot of the overarching plot and explanation, this movie would have been even better and more enjoyable than I found it. And the second and most important thing being, like almost every video game adaptation that has ever been made, this is just a classic case of the game is more enjoyable to play than the movie is to watch. Now, they are individual, they're different from one another, but I think the game is like, you cannot imitate that. It is just so good. So when you're watching a movie like this, like the Uncharted movie or Resident Evil, you're just thinking to yourself, is this better than just sitting down and playing the game? The answer to that is probably no, depending the type of person you are. So that's where I'm at as well. I think the game is better than this movie. That is actually where this movie suffers a little bit. So I have to disconnect myself and think like, okay, this is not the same thing. This is the movie. It's not the game. But it is glaringly apparent to me that I just enjoy the video game more than I enjoyed this movie because I find it more immersive. I feel like it fits more as a medium because you don't need the exposition or story. And the scares and the character payoff means more in the video games because you get attached to certain characters and you don't care about any of the characters in this movie. It's kind of hard to explain if you've never played a game like this, a survival horror game where you are attached to characters, you have to make choices. I find those games to be crazy immersive and I get attached to the characters, and I think like the scares and the build-up and the world building, it's just so much more effective in the form of a first-person video game. As I already said, you don't really care about these characters, so I do think it does lag a little bit, especially in the middle when it tries to get plot heavy. But that being said, I really like the ending of this where they kind of tease an Easter egg of a snowy cabin, which if you're familiar is the setting of the game, not the movie. I really hope this movie does well enough to get that sequel if that's what they were teasing at, because I would love to give this director a second chance and give us the actual source material of the game. I would pay to see that any day. So overall, guys, this is not a perfect movie. This is a stupid movie. You will know immediately by my description of this, by the trailer, if this is the type of movie for you. If it looks like it is, it probably is. But if you heard any of this or you saw that trailer and said that looks stupid, I almost can guarantee you're not going to like this movie. I found this movie enjoyable because I'm a huge fan of the game. The concept they promised, they paid it off in my opinion. There's excellent gore, some awesome jump scares at points, drags a little bit. You don't care about these characters, but let's be honest, that's not why you're in this movie. You just want to watch people die, and I think it delivers. So for me, I can all but guarantee Until Dawn's going to be a cult classic. I had a good time with this film. I think it's worth buying on Blu-ray if you're a fan of the game. So if you guys did get around to seeing Until Dawn, comment down below, let me know what you thought of it, or if you've played the game, let me know what you thought of the game or how this movie compares to it. Were you like me, or did you get annoyed by this? As always, comment, subscribe, like the video, all of that helps the channel, but I will see you in the next video. Peace.